Hey, Emily. How are you doing, girl? It's Miguel. And today is the 30th of December, 2018. It's the day before Christmas Eve for the year 2019. So, wow, we made it. At least I made it, and you made it too. So, I guess we both made it. We made it to the new year. The Earth has revolved around the sun one more time. I, for one, am grateful for it. Every day, every moment, every hour, it's valuable. hmm every moment of our lives is kind of a little miracle. I marvel at the fact that I'm still alive even now. I'm not that old, but I think there's a lot to marvel about. I mean, just the existence of human life is essentially a miracle, given how hostile the universe is to life. I think that the universe is prone to produce life and at the same time is also prone to wiping it out. If you think about where the planet Earth is in relation to the sun and all the things that lined up. Now, it's not quite how everything got lined up. I'm referring to the anthropic principle right now. It's really just about it happened to be a niche that existed and life grew within it here in the universe. I'm sure in the universe there are millions of possibilities, millions of different environments, billions of environments, maybe even trillions of environments. Sure, an infinite number of environments, some more or less hospitable to human life. And the planet Earth happened to be one. Yeah. So while this is interesting philosophically, I want to talk about something that happened yesterday, and that was how I visited Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I had a fantastic time. I had a really excellent time. And by the way, I might appear to be a little tired right now. I just got finished working out at the gym. The reason I worked out today, and I work out most days of the week. Um, the reason I worked out just now was because tomorrow being New Year's Eve, I think some of the gyms might not be open. So I wanted to make sure I hit the gym. In fact, I'm really hoping that the gym is open tomorrow because I'd like to do some running and some leg work, some machine squats, some leg presses. And I want to also work on the Jacob's ladder, which is an amazing piece of workout equipment. So, um, yeah, I just worked out. And so I'm feeling basically, I've got the endorphin rush after having worked out. And so I'm feeling pretty mellow right now, I think, as a result of that endorphin rush. And now let me emphasize that the endorphin rush is not this amazing feeling of bliss that is on a scale from 1 to 10, a 10. The endorphin rush, at least the way my body experiences it, is mostly just a relaxation response. It's a feeling of calm that sort of rushes over you. And for me, that's the endorphin rush. And it's not so much a rush, it's more like just a sort of a pleasant relaxation feeling where all seems to be right in the world. It's sort of like it's sort of just a relaxation. is what it is. And, the muscles feel good. My muscles in general feel pretty good when I've got this endorphin rush. They don't feel great. Quite often, sometimes after I've done a workout, like I did some barbell work over my head, sometimes I'm not even able to lift my collar with my with my arms. But I'm so much in a relaxed state that it doesn't bother me so much. It's like, oh, I can't reach my collar. Okay, well, I guess I'm not reaching my collar today. Yeah. So I've never really, like, I've run for a while. I've, I started running back in high school. And even before that, I used to run pretty regularly. But about high school and after high school, that's when I started running long distances, where I did my half marathon race and my marathon race. And I was always kind of puzzled about why I never felt this euphoria of the endorphin rush after long efforts running. And indeed, I never, not once, experienced a runner's high like it's described in magazines and news articles. My runner's high has always been just the sort of, it's just a feeling of relaxation, a feeling of calm, which sort of comes over me. And you know what? It's not a feeling of calmness that is more extraordinary necessarily than any other feeling of calmness. It might be a half a notch more calm than I might normally be. And so it's easy to ignore. And I wouldn't have necessarily come up with this distinction about how my body operates unless I received information from, by reading it from external sources. For me, I might have just experienced the state as being just a little tired. But now I know it as a runner's high or an exercise high. And hey, now that's not to say I haven't experienced any kind of high at all. There is a kind of high that I have experienced. And it generally comes after I perform long walks, very long walks. And it doesn't happen same day and not even the day after, but sometimes 2 days after I've done like a long walk. I'll have this feeling of just exuberant positive energy. And it lasts a good maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's a kind of happiness that is independent from my external reality. No matter what happens, I've noticed, I am able to translate whatever happens into some kind of positive attitude. And it's happened to me very many times. It's actually quite reliable. And sometimes I count on it. And all I've got to do is take a long walk. And you might be asking yourself, well, how long are these walks that Miguel is taking? I register between, 15 and 18,000 steps. Maybe about, I think it happens about 18,000 steps. Now that is a long walk. That's about a 9-mile walk. So a 9-mile walk taken throughout the day, that's a full day of walking. I mean, this is no joke walking. And basically for me, every 2,000 steps is about a mile. And that's why I'm pretty confidently, I can say it's about a 9-mile walk. So while I love the euphoria that happens after these very long walks, it doesn't happen very often. Now, these days, in fact, I've been making it happen. I actually do these walks, 19,000 step walks, every week now. After having realized this positive exuberance, these feelings of exuberance that happen pretty reliably. Um, in fact, I'm expecting it to happen tomorrow sometime. This wave of euphoria crossing over me. It's so significant that I think carefully about what might have caused these. I'm pretty sure it's these long walks. And so I've been doing it every day pretty reliably, going about 18,000 steps about the last 4 weeks or so. Anyway, in a way, I'm kind of doing an experiment, and I'm finding out if this hypothesis is correct. So far, it's been pretty correct. It's happened every time. So anyway, there's some information about you and it's about me, but it might inform you about biology, since we do share the same biology, or at least 50% of the same biology. So getting back to Magic Mountain again, I had a fantastic time at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I guess it's near Saugus, or maybe it's the Saugus exit. I'm not sure. I actually liked the drive too. The drive was no big deal. Six Flags is only a 2 hour drive away, which in my view is like nothing. And it was easy to perform. The drive there and the drive back was no big deal. And the roads were very clear. It's just from here to Santa Barbara, and then Santa Barbara to Ventura, and then Ventura out to Fillmore, and Fillmore to Six Flags. It's really not that long of a drive, and the highway is very high quality, and the drive is quite relaxing. Quite often when I drive, I listen to an audiobook, so the time isn't wasted by any means. I'm moving through books. I'm also listening to music that I enjoy, or I'll listen to the radio, or just silence. I'll just sort of daydream and do planning in my mind about what I want to accomplish that day, or in the next couple days, or that week. So it's not wasted time at all during these 2 hour trips. And boy, let me tell you, Magic Mountain is an amazing place. Now, it has its own quirks, of course, as an amusement park. I've been to a lot of amusement parks lately. I've been to Disneyland, California, Disneyland, certainly Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, and Universal Studios. And each amusement park has its individual quirkiness. Six Flags is no different. One thing I really appreciate about Six Flags is just the sheer number of high quality roller coasters they've got. It blows every other amusement park away. I'm serious. They have so many rides that are going. It's really phenomenal. They put together an amazing array of roller coasters. And what's interesting is that now I'm aware that I'm really enjoying roller coasters and roller coaster culture. And I mean, I definitely have an interest in doing roller coasters, and oh man, I really had a great time. And believe it or not, I only did a couple roller coasters that I visited yesterday when I visited the park. That's okay. I expect to go to this park multiple times this year. I'll definitely hit every single roller coaster. That's for sure. I had a really good time. The things that I really enjoy doing in life right now are like roller coasters, music, dancing, eating chocolate, being around lots of people. And amusement parks have all those ingredients. And I had amazing chocolate. They've got these amazing fudge brownies. Knock your socks off brownies. And they are packed with fudge. There's basically a brownie cake, right? In rectangular shape, huge brownie. And a big chunk of fudge on top of the brownie. It's a layer, very thick. I'm talking, quarter inch to half inch thick layer of fudge on top of this brownie cake. It's like, man, I couldn't eat it all. If you can imagine having a brownie that you could not eat. I brought some of it home, and some part of it is now in my refrigerator. So I had a good time. I I love the crowds. I love the people. I love the music that was there. They had an a cappella group there. It's Merry Christmas. It's a Christmas time, holiday season kind of thing going on there. So they've got entertainment and they've got dancers and they've got people on stilts. Anyway, I liked it. I also thought it was very beautiful. The park lights up with these Christmas lights at nighttime. And they really accent, those lights really accent the features of the park, the architectural features. And there are like LED lights on the wheels of some of the roller coasters. And I don't know, it's a very colorful experience, very musical experience. I had a good time. I'm looking forward to going to Six Flags again soon. In fact, I might be going really soon. Like 6 days. I might be going again. I've been considering going again next Saturday. Why not? Why not? That's what I say. If I enjoy it, if it's something that I like, why not do it all the time? Right? So I'm going to look forward to that. It gives me something to look forward to on Saturday, right? So I had a really good time. What do I like about roller coasters? Well, there's something about sort of shifting your body around, your body being under the influence of gravity. There's also this whole unique experience of being moved, of your body being moved in unique ways, unpredictable ways, ways it's never been moved before. There's novelty there. There's excitement. And particularly with the speed and the twists and the turns. And it's just such a unique experience. It's kind of like swimming, where a human body in the water is a pretty unique experience. It doesn't happen all the time. Human beings don't hang out in the water a lot. Maybe we'll take a shower or a bath for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then it's up. The rest of the time, we're hanging out in the air, right? Walking around on the planet Earth. We're doing very little swimming. The same is true with roller coasters. When we commit to putting our bodies in these machines, essentially these little trains on tracks, we are subjecting our body to unique forces that our bodies aren't normally coping with. We've got G forces coming through every direction through our center of gravity in our body. And so, our minds have to sort of adapt to these changes in G forces. And I don't know, it's entertaining. And if you have the proper attitude, it's fun. It's fun. It reminds me of swinging. When I was a kid, I loved swings. And I loved swing sets. And in fact, my dad actually built a swing set in our backyard, or rather our front yard, when we lived in Taos. And I seem to remember, Emily, that you were a real big fan of swing sets when you were young. In fact, I remember you wanting to be pushed on the swing set all the time. And I remember you being on a swing set even before you learned how to pump the swing so that you could propel yourself instead of me pushing you, me or your mom pushing you. That was so dear. Those memories in my mind are so dear and valuable. I'm so pleased to have them. I just want to say that I really adored you as a child. I really did. And I continue to cherish and adore those memories even today. So thankful that I had the opportunity to spend time with you when you were young. I really count it as one of the privileges, one of the main privileges of my life. So, yeah, I love swinging. I love swings. I did love swings when I was a kid. And interestingly, I know that you love swings. I wonder if you love swings now. And I'm a little bit curious if you think you might enjoy roller coasters, big roller coasters, medium ones, small ones. I wonder if you have any ideas about what roller coasters you like or not. I tell you, I would be interested in going on roller coasters with you. That would be cool. Anyway, I've been enjoying roller coasters and chocolate. That's right, and fudge. I'll tell you, the food at that amusement park, some of it is over the top. A lot of some of the other food is not necessarily up to my standards. Uh, it's understandable. I mean, imagine if I had to feed basically 10,000 people in a day, lunch and dinner and snacks all throughout the day. I mean, how far can you go with the food anyway, really? Food is hard enough to make available for 100 people. Imagine doing it for 1,000 or 10,000 people all throughout the day. Talk about the logistical challenge. And so, I commend Six Flags for doing what they can do. In fact, they've even got a sushi bar there. Next time I go, I'm looking forward to eating some of the sushi. They've got hero sandwiches, which are Greek style sandwiches with pita bread. They've got all kinds of things like chicken nuggets, although they don't call them chicken nuggets. I think they call them boneless hot wings, which is quaint and interesting and funny. Um, of course, they got pizza and hamburgers and sandwiches and things like that. They've got these, I'm really just beginning to learn about amusement park food. There's some amusement park foods that I've kind of always known about, but have never really participated in eating, like soft pretzels and churros. I've never really been a fan of either. Now, churro is a kind of donut, right? It's got cinnamon and sugar on it. There's also another kind of donut. It's called funnel cake. And of course, I see funnel cake at amusement parks all the time. And I might have even had a funnel cake at one time, but a funnel cake is not something that I think about often. In fact, I kind of had to really remind myself what a funnel cake was. I think I looked up funnel cake on Wikipedia a couple days ago because I was a little certain about what it was. And it turns out that it's a donut. Basically, donut dough, I guess, is put in some kind of squeezable package, and it's uh, um, pushed out of this package in like a tubular form, and it's placed in oil and it's fried like a donut is fried in oil. So I'm telling you this because I just learned about what a funnel cake was. I really wasn't quite sure what it was. It's basically a donut that powdered sugar is placed on top. And I noticed at Six Flags, they had other things on top of the funnel cake. They had whipped cream and they had soft serve ice cream on top, syrups of various kinds. It's kind of funny. I think I might want to give it a try. Who knows? I might like funnel cakes. I really don't know. I really haven't eaten too many of them. I'm not sure I've even eaten one, honestly. I have had a churro before, and they didn't necessarily leave much of an impression for me. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I am looking forward to going to Six Flags probably next week. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So maybe what we can do is start up the question and answer period today. Let's see what we got going here. Question number 115. Are you a creature of habit? Explain your answer. And the answer to that question is a definite yes. I am a creature of habit. I love my habits. I feel secure when my behavior is very same from day to day. And when I'm taken out of my those habits, sort of out of my comfort zone, I'm a little uncertain. I just become a little bit uncertain about, okay, what am I going to do now? That's actually what's happening now since I've been on vacation for almost a week now. Um, Loving my vacation, and I am finding that there's kind of a lot of open space, open time. And I've been filling that time with a lot of with cooking, really. Lots of cooking and reading. And that's been really valuable. My cooking habits are really changing now. I'm really being able to devote time to make progress in making my cooking experience and my eating experiences a lot higher quality than they normally are. And it's kind of an interesting transition, an interesting change that's going on right now in my personality. And I'm interested to see how these new cooking techniques and this new cooking style will unfold over time. So, in fact, I went to Goodwill this morning. That's the secondhand store here in Lompoc. And I picked up two cookbooks. And my intention is just to read through the cookbooks. They've got lots of pictures, they've got explanations. And for me, it's all about spending time enhancing my ability to cook, improving my skill set, how I handle a knife, how I match spices, how I assemble foods together, using ingredients that I don't commonly use, like flours, baking powder, a baking soda, things like that. This has gotten this has got me pretty excited and interested lately, and I'm intrigued about the possibilities. I think what I'll end up doing in the end is spending more time preparing my food more thoughtfully, more consciously, and thereby improving my quality of life and probably including improving my health. I haven't quite made it there yet. I'm still fooling around a little bit in the kitchen, doing little experiments about how to improve my knife skills and how to improve uh, how I mix seasonings together. I think I've already committed to making my own salad dressing, which is new for me. It's not something I commonly do. Normally, I just purchase salad dressing from the store. So, anyway, I'm sort of going far afield from the original question. Are you a creature of habit? And explain your answer. So, yes, I am a creature of habit. And explain my answer. Well, I really appreciate when things are roughly the same day by day because it allows for planning. It also allows for continual improvement. If I did different things every day, radically different things every day, then it would be a real challenge to integrate my day with improved behaviors. And quite often when it comes to behaviors change gradually. They change gradually over time. Sometimes behaviors are well thought out. Behavior changes are well thought out. And, the more often a behavior is repeated, the more it's reinforced and the more secure you become in your behavior. And, that's probably a good part of the reason why I enjoy habitual behavior. I think that I've just been doing it a lot. And that's how I find progress. That's how I find success, by making slight improvements in my behavior every day. And it's been working out in a lot of ways. So let's go on to the next question. Question number 116. In what situations are you most likely to procrastinate? So I guess that those situations where I'm most likely to procrastinate are those that are fairly low priority. I tend to override them with a more high priority work and behavior. So a behavior that I might procrastinate on might be behavior that I'm confident I can do, or relatively confident, although it sometimes occurs around behavior that I'm not confident I can perform. Um, it might even be rather routine, a kind of routine behavior, and there might be what I'd call an unpleasant aspect to it. Maybe it might require a lot of attention on my part, or maybe it might require a new environment or a new tool. And that change out of my normal daily routine, well, that's hard to accommodate. And so, at least initially, maybe. And so I'll tend to procrastinate. Now, I'm continually trying to come up with ways to help reduce procrastination. Like, I sent you a text message yesterday that showed a picture of a whiteboard on my front door. And on that whiteboard, I write to do list items. And I really like this idea because the way I live my life in my apartment, I am very often just staring at that door that's got the to do list on it. It just happens that's the way I situate myself in my rooms, my various rooms, my dining room, living room, kitchen. And so I'm often quite looking at that door, and to put a to-do list on that door is pretty amazing. It's a great idea. I'm actually quite proud of the brainstorm. And I think that continually looking at my to-do list every single day on the door will be a, will help motivate me to perform the work that I want to do. Yeah. Already I'm quite self-disciplined. In a way, I think I'm very much, I think that you are quite disciplined too, Emily. I think of that as one of your main virtues. And I also think of self-discipline as one of my main virtues too. If there's really any character trait that has been responsible for the most success in my life, I would guess that it was my ability to act in a determined way. It's that self discipline, which really, if you've got it, is a behavior that's as good as gold. Yeah. And, my guess from what I know about you and what I've seen about you, how you behave and such, is my guess is that you have very, very high levels of self control. And that is something I admire very much. I admire that very much in myself, and I admire it in you. And I want to get that across. I think the fact that you have amazing self-control is going to serve you well as you grow up. You'll be able to put off rewards, perform hard work for longer than your peers, and I think it'll make you more thoughtful and more successful in life. And I'm happy to bestow that genetic uh, attentional control to you through my genetic line. I think it'll serve you well. It'll help you make more intelligent decisions and behave in more intelligent ways. And I'm thankful that I could give that to you somehow. That genetic endowment I can give to you as a gift. That really makes me happy. So yeah, let's see. Now, what was that question all about again? The question was, in what situations are you most likely to procrastinate? So, I quite often procrastinate when it comes to, say, doing the dishes. Although lately, since I've been focused on cooking, I've been doing the dishes in a very disciplined way, getting them done almost before every single meal I prepare. And that's wonderful. Other things I procrastinate on, sometimes cleaning my bathroom. It's just sort of routine work. I could do it anytime, and I often find behaviors that are of higher priority. Just happens to be the way. Um, Sometimes writing letters, I procrastinate on. Um, Doing homework, I procrastinate on that. Homework at school, homework from school. I have been introduced to a method that can help reduce procrastination. And it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. It's a counting backwards method. And the idea is that if you find yourself stuck, just call out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And right after you call out 1, go do it. There is an author on YouTube and television that is continually advertising her product. Her count to 5 method of self-control. And I've tried it a few times and I think it works. And I want to try it out more often to develop sort of a greater understanding of what's going on and why this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method seems to help me initiate action when I feel challenged. Okay, next question. Question number 117. What books have made a big impact on you? Well, the books that made the most impact on me are books that I read when I was, 18, 19, 20 years old. And those books are the same as they are today, mostly. That's not to say I haven't read books that I have found internally motivating and interesting recently. One of those books is the Harry Potter series. I've been really enjoying the Harry Potter series, listening to the audiobooks. I've attempted to read the paper book, actually, that version using my Kindle Oasis, but I've not been able to make it through the book. But I'm definitely able to make it through the audiobooks, that's for sure. So I think the Harry Potter series is one, but really that's the only fiction story that's had a really significant impact on my life. Most of the other books that are important to me are nonfiction. Like there's Nathaniel Brannon's The Psychology of Self-Esteem. His other book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, very formative in my thinking. Byron Katie's books, Love What Is, Loving What Is, and 1,000 Names for Joy, also amazing books that I love very much that were life-changing. Other books, the Ayn Rand books I enjoyed, that Ayn Rand library series. Of course, these are books that I read way back when I was in college. More recently, books that I've been enjoying, I'm looking over at my bookshelf. There is an author that I've been enjoying lately, and he writes about acceptance and commitment therapy. And I've really enjoyed his work. Also, motivational interviewing type works. I've been enjoying those quite a bit. I see Brene Brown there, and believe it or not, Brene Brown hasn't really been a very strong influence on my life. I her books are interesting, but they don't go as deep into the subject matter as I would like. Um, and so for that reason, mainly, I haven't necessarily those books haven't necessarily made an impact on me. Um, Also, Rosenberg's NVC, nonviolent communication books have been interesting and formative for me. And I'm finding also that there are a lot of other books that Marshall Rosenberg did not write that address the subject of empathy and person-centered therapy, and that I've enjoyed even more than the Rosenberg books. Yeah. Okay, what's next? Question number 118. At what age do you hope to retire? Explain. Okay, um, well, I don't expect to retire. It's not something I'm thinking about. It's something I'm saving for, certainly. But my belief is that the nature of work will have changed so much 20 years from now that there will be no reason to retire. In fact, in my view, even today, there's no reason to retire. In my view, retirement is an age-old concept. It's an antiquated concept that is not that is no longer relevant. I know a lot of people still echo the word retire again and again and again while they're working, but um, I don't think it's real anymore. Now, it was real way back in the, I don't know, early 20th century, where the majority of jobs were physical labor jobs, where if you were 80 years old, you just simply couldn't accomplish the physical labor. And so you were cast out of the workforce because you had no skills besides offering your physical labor for money. That is definitely not the case anymore. Ever since the technological revolution, which superseded and surpassed the Industrial Revolution, that information age that we're in, well, that's all about your mind and how active and creative and curious you are. And those are traits, those are skills that get better with age quite often. Well, not always, but whereas the physical labor part of work, as you grew older, you'd become more frail. So I think there's a marked difference in today's workforce, and I think that retiring means something entirely different than it did. To the extent that I think that essentially retirement is an antiquated concept that's not worth considering. It's going to be even more irrelevant. That is, retirement is going to be even more irrelevant in the future. Yeah, especially when um, the workforce changes, when robots and autonomous vehicles start integrating into the workforce, when artificial intelligence starts integrating itself even more so into the workforce and the service industry, and basically into all industries, as AI and automation just sort of take over the world of work. That's going to transform what work is, what work means, and um, definitely, I think that there's little. I think there's very little that retirement has to offer anyone. And you know what? I think that sure, the argument stands quite often now about how much freedom people have when they're not working. And hey, I get it. It sounds wonderful for a time, to a degree. Um, you know, I think we'd all like to be freed up a little bit, just a little bit, from the daily routine and the daily grind. But right now, there's an integration that's going on. This work-life balance that people are talking about. Well, work is spreading into many areas of people's lives now that I think they're not quite appreciating. Work is more fully integrated into human life than ever before. And I think the trend of further integration will be um, will run unabated, and that you may not be able to tell when you're working or when you're at leisure, say 20 years from now. I know that is a bold projection, uh, a bold conjecture, but I think it's already happened. The nature of work is so different than it was just 20 years ago. I remember work 21 years ago, and I didn't have computers. Or actually, I did have a computer. It just wasn't hooked up to the internet. Um, and let me tell you, things have changed a lot. And in another 20 years, I think work will be almost unrecognizable. I know, in 20 years, I think work will be almost unrecognizable. Here's what I think work will become. Right now, people are pushing paper, a lot of paper, because ideas are written on paper. But in the future, 10, 20 years from now, I think that work will be primarily done through conversations. And artificial intelligence will enable those conversations with helpful actions that are performed, um, maybe using voice commands. So I think that essentially work is going to devolve into conversations. Everything's going to be about creative ideas, making processes that exist more efficient. Um, there will be a lot of innovation. I think that work will change considerably in 20 years, and it may not even be um, recognizable. You know, I have a feeling that it may not be recognizable, and what I mean by that is that there probably won't be computers. Um, no, there will be computers, but I'm not talking about. I don't think we'll use a mouse to manipulate a cursor across the screen in 20 years. I think it's going to be conversations. Like our cubicles are going to be nothing more but sofas. There's going to be cameras all around. And we're basically going to be sitting on our sofas. We're going to be having conversations with the cameras. And our voices will be recorded and our keywords will be collected, and artificial intelligence will organize certain processes, and it'll all happen visually and verbally. And there will be no desk. There will be no pens. I might write down something with a pen and paper, but my guess is that there won't even be that. Pen and paper won't exist, and that paper won't really, in 20 years, I don't think paper will play a significant role in the workplace. Everything will be digital. It'll be screens and more screens. If it isn't virtual reality goggles. And it'll be something we could probably all do at home, and work will be shorter than it ever has been before. Work might consist of 4 hours of really high performing, very efficient work that occurs during the day, because I think it's quite realistic to think that the 8-hour workday will be slashed to maybe 4 hours a day. And I think that in 20 years, we won't be working 5 days a week. We'll probably be working 3 days a week, if that. And yeah, so basically what'll happen, this is my guess, my conjecture, is that in the future, workers will be just conversation machines. We'll be having conversations. We'll be pushing buttons on virtual keyboards in front of us, or Everything will be managed through programmed interfaces, and the interface will be through minds, through nets, or they'll be through gestures or voice. And I mean, the nature of work is really set to change. The nature of education, the nature of training, transportation. I mean, in 20 years, everything's going to be so different. So what was I getting at? It's funny how I can drill down and focus on a particular conversation and then ignore other aspects of it. So at what age do I hope to retire? So I don't think that I will ever retire. I won't have to. I'm not going to be working in coal mines. My physical, I will not engage in any physical labor in the future to retire from. Most of my retirement will be people querying me about the past, about standards and practices, maybe. And people will just be having conversations with one another, one after the other, boom, 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 and a string of conversations. And people will not even meet face to face. People will be having conversations through virtual reality, through teleconferences, continually. And work will take place through verbal commands to an automative assistant. Yeah. And really the job of the worker will be process improvement and through creative thinking. Everything will be about creative thoughts, making new integrations, new distinctions. And that will be the work of today. If you think today people go to work and come back and feel like they haven't accomplished anything, just imagine what work will be like in 20 years. I mean, you won't even be able to notice when people are working or not. I have a feeling that the transition that right now we've got this work-life balance dichotomy. In the future, there'll be no such thing. Everything will be just an integrated set of work. It'll be work/life. It'll be like work life, or it'll just be life. We'll just start calling work life. And that's how we'll do it. Yeah. So I've got high hopes for the future. I don't think that I'll ever retire. Now, I might retire if I have an accident, some kind of trauma to my body that prevents me from going to work, or I might retire. It's going to be like a medical retirement if I retire. It'll be because of cancer or heart disease or a stroke, or it'll be about I don't know, who knows what it'll be. But it'll be a medical retirement. And you know what? It's kind of funny. I know a lot of people, a lot of older people sort of dream about what retirement could be and want to retire as soon as possible. And, that's fine. That's great. But for me, I value industry. I value an active mind. I value the social conditioning that comes from working in a workplace. I value the skill set that I learn, the continual learning about new platforms, new clients, new software that happens in the workplace. I think that's incredibly valuable to stay up to date with technology. And I just don't ever see myself just sort of turning my back on it. Personally, I have no desire to retire. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a man of habit or a creature of habit, and continuing to work means continuing to have a purpose in society. It means continually learning. And that's one of my most top values, is the ability to learn and the interest in learning. And you know what? It's true. Maybe I'll want to retire in the future because that will mean I'll be able to take different classes or learn about different subject matter. But you know what? I think those barriers will be decreased. I think in the future, people will get trained in however, whenever, however they want to be trained and whenever they want to be trained. I think we'll figure out education once and for all. Certainly within the next 20 years, I'm quite hopeful. There's a lot of technologies that are occurring, that are happening in the classroom today. And I think that it's wise for society to begin, transition to a better kind of school day. Yeah. Anyway, what's my next question? Question number 119. How much of a bargain hunter are you? Explain. So I'm not that much of a bargain hunter. In fact, the things that I tend to buy tend to be high quality, long lasting, and a lot of those products just don't go on sale very often. And so I'm not necessarily a bargain hunter. It takes a lot of time and energy to hunt for bargains. I've tried to cut coupons with some success, not great success. Now, I can be a bargain hunter if I say see two stores side by side that are selling the same product, or two gas stations side by side that are selling the same gas. It's then that you'll observe me making choices about bargains that are in my area. So why is that? Well, I used to be interested in coupons. In fact, I did coupon clipping for a while. It wasn't ever something that highly intrigued me. It took a lot of time. Typically, it takes a lot of time. At least that's what it did for me. It took a lot of time for me to peruse all the newspaper sections and then file all the coupons away, and then put the coupons into my bag as I transport them to the grocery store, and then present the coupons to the cashier clerk. It's just, I don't know. Hopefully, the future will make it easier for people to use coupons. I'm looking forward to that. That's for sure. And yeah, so I'm not so much of a bargain hunter. I think I know that your mom, at least she was back then, Sheila, I think she was a pretty strong bargain hunter. And my guess is that she continues to be so. But I was never inspired by bargain hunting. Next question. Question number 120. How much of a shopper are you? Where is your favorite place to shop? Okay, so I just got finished saying that I'm not much of a shopper. That was part of the bargain hunter question. So the question is, no, I'm not that much of a shopper. I tend not to enjoy shopping. I mean, I actually have been enjoying it more lately, and I'm glad for it. Mainly because it's a nice walk. It's a pleasant walk. It's interesting. It's somewhat entertaining because what's on the shelves is novel, right? And you get to spend time imagining what that object or product or service will, how you use it, or how it will make your life better. I really appreciate doing that. To me, that is valuable, to go shopping, find out what's on the market, and figure out what you might want to use in your life and how you might want to use it. But I'm not necessarily, it's not something I spend a lot of time putting energy into. I remember your mom and our friend Suzanne Shank, they traveled to Las Vegas just to go shopping in Las Vegas. And that sounded like a blast. That sounds like a blast. And I can imagine myself doing that now. But at the time, I just didn't see it. So for me, I'm not a shopaholic or anything like that. Now, where's my favorite place to shop? Believe it or not, right now, my favorite place to shop is Goodwill, the secondhand store. I'm a secondhand store person who likes to shop at secondhand stores. Now, I'll also shop the brand name stores. Like I'll shop REI if I want to get some outdoor equipment, or um, what other? I'll go to Kohl's if I want to get some kind of special shirt or pants. Maybe I'll go to Sears. But I tend to like the Sears of the world and the Goodwills of the world. And boy, let me tell you, I've been hearing a lot of troubling things about Sears, the department store. They've not been doing very well financially. I think they are in the midst of some kind of bankruptcy process. It's kind of interesting because Sears has been a grocery store as long as I've been alive, and they've been a very popular one too. And what's also interesting is that I've been around long enough to watch grocery store chains die. Like Montgomery Ward is a good example. You may not even be aware of Montgomery Ward, but when I was growing up, that was a big store. That store was a big deal, and it essentially just dissolved. Other stores like that, like Gottschalk's, also just dissolved. There are other stores, like there was the TGNY, the Five and Dime. Oh yeah, no doubt you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is a store that was very popular a long time ago, and it just dissolved. It went away after losing popularity. You know, it happens. It happens. And I don't quite know how to explain it. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap up my video today, Emily. Thanks for sharing some time with me. Appreciate you having the patience and the willingness to learn a little bit more about me and about my ideas, about my life and experiences, and listen patiently as I sort of describe what my experience with you was in your past. As I mentioned, how much you enjoyed swings and things like that. So I want to say that I love you very much. I cherish my relationship with you. I think that you are terrific. You're turning out to be quite terrific, an amazing and remarkable young lady. And I'm proud to be your father. And I also want you to know that I love you just the way you are. That that I've got a real deep and earnest sense of acceptance of you. And I'm pleased when you make decisions based on what you need and want. I appreciate that. I appreciate the confidence and the courage that it takes for you to say no when you want to say no. You know, that's a rare gift. And clearly, it's a gift that you have. And I appreciate that. That'll help protect you. That sort of skepticism will help protect your mind and protect your body as you grow up. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. I wish you peace, and I wish you perhaps adventure, excitement, and one of these days, maybe roller coasters. I wonder if that's in the cards for you. So, anyway, I'll talk to you later, girl. Peace out.